Greetings viewers, Eric the Car Guy here with a kind of a quick one for you today. However, this is an issue I'm sure many of you run into if you've ever attempted to do a timing belt and water pump on a Honda vehicle. Behind me, 2004 Honda Civic 1.7 liter that I'm about to do a timing belt on. I'm going to loosen the crank bolt, I believe, just with compressed air. I have my compressor, everything is set to 125 PSI, my weapon of choice, 2135 Ti, which I think is like some kind of titanium hammer or something like that. Don't know exactly. Anyway, this is what I'm using, 125 PSI in the system. Now, there are a couple of ways to go about this. Say you don't have impact tools and say this doesn't work. Well, you have options. Those options would likely involve these tools or something similar. This is a Honda crank pulley tool. You can purchase this piece that fits on the end of a breaker bar. It's a lot less expensive. I have the actual Honda tool here that I'm going to be using today. Also, you may need a cheater bar of some kind. This is off of an old floor jack of mine. It just so happens to fit perfectly on my half-inch breaker bar. Why don't I show you what the configuration of these would be on the vehicle if you were using these tools. So if you were going to use these tools, this would fit in here in some way, shape, or form. Probably something like this. Although I've taken them up through the control arm before, because that helps hold them into place. And that's something that you're going to have to be mindful of, is you're going to have to hold this or find some way to hold this. On this control arm, it's going to have a tendency to push up against it and sort of walk it off of here. So, like I said, I like to either slip it up through the control arm or maybe even back here. We can change this, but this is how you position the breaker bar. So it goes right through the center of that. That's why that hole is there. And if you need additional leverage, which is often required because these are on there pretty good many times, some sort of cheater bar slid onto the end of your breaker bar would be a good way to go. Here's a view of how I've got that positioned up through here. Just an FYI, this 1.7 liter uses a 19 millimeter. Some of the older Civics use a 17. Here goes. Just straight up shop air, 125 PSI. Disco. Okay, in actuality, it wasn't 125, but 120, just under 120 PSI that I have at this regulator here that did the trick. So it wasn't even 125 PSI. Well, there you have it. 120 PSI, not 125. An Ingersoll Rand 2135 titanium half-inch impact gun did the trick. However, I showed you other methods just in case you don't have access to compressed air. I'll put links in the description to that Honda tool as well as any other tools used. I also happen to have a full timing belt replacement video on this that I'll put a link to in the description, along with a link to a page where I have other videos of that type that you can check out for yourself. If you have automotive questions not covered in this video, I'd ask you to head over to EricTheCarGuy.com and use the resources there. I made a welcome video to tell you about those resources. If you wish to connect with me socially, Google+, Facebook, Twitter, also Instagram. Close each of my videos. Be safe, have fun, and stay dirty. I will see you next time. Thank you for watching.